Wait till men realize they're completely useless because all women can just become lesbian and have bone marrow babies.
Men are horrible. I mean, I have to just tell it to you like it is, honey, but all men are awful.
Remember, men are replaceable. But you know what's not replaceable? You're gorgeous.
I don't hate men. I'm just pissed that most of you can't do me properly. It's not that hard. Useless. Useless.
Men think they're so much more important than they are. Like,
You think men are important? Like for what?
Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
We need men to make us stupid.
Do we need men? Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No, why?
Nobody needs men.
Someone dies by suicide in the UK every 90 minutes. 76% of these are male. 25 attempts for every death. Single biggest cause of death for men under the age of 45 is suicide. This crazy stat that people always talk about, the single biggest cause of death if you're under the age of 45.
My name's Lee Matthews.
My name's Lewis Williams.
My name's Jacob Powell.
My name is Callum Harrison.
So, my name is Lewis.
My name is Ethan Woodcock.
So my name's Dave. I'm the head of additional learning support at Blackpool Sixth Form College.
And I'm here to give my point of view on how physical activity can overcome and help mental health problems.
Outside of college, I take regular part in sport. I've represented Great Britain in aquathlon at a world and a European championship before.
There's a lot of expectation on men, there's a lot of, stiff upper lip, be a man, just get on with it. And we found that when we started interacting with people in the community, we found that a lot of men weren't talking about various issues in their life, bottling things up, which is a really unhealthy thing.
There is this culture out there where young people feel they can't access support, they can't ask for help because they're worried that someone's going to bully them. I grew up watching kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger films, Stallone films, Bruce Willis in Die Hard, those sorts of things where men were men, big men, tough. You didn't speak about your emotions and all that kind of stuff. And I think there's a little bit of an overhang from that.
Not being able to express themselves and talk about especially with regards to mental health.
There's a big stigma that men don't speak, not being vulnerable. It goes back to the olden days really, men just being that person that basically takes the issues and just carries on with life and not being open about the issues really.
I don't think people want to admit the fact that they need help and go and look for it.
I think the biggest issue affecting men with their mental health is talking about it. I think there's a stigma. I don't think there needs to be, and I don't think there should be, but I think there is a stigma about men talking about how they're feeling. Because there's TV personalities and people in mainstream media and social media that say, as a man, we have to do X, Y, and Z.
I think, men are expected to be physically fit and strong.
I feel like men need more help than ever now because we aren't like the women of today. Women are quite happy to talk to each other in any setting, whether it's over a coffee, drinking. They meet up on a casual basis all the time with each other. Men don't do that. In my opinion, men need more help than ever to actually drop their ego and be able to talk about their inner feelings on a regular basis. It doesn't happen.
Getting bullied at high school massively negatively impacted my mental health, as I'm sure it does for anybody. Obviously I'm now seeing that from the other side now as an educator as well. And obviously I enjoyed school in as much as I enjoyed learning, and I wanted to go to school, but obviously when you're going into school and you know that you're going to be getting name calling and all that kind of stuff, it's not nice. It did negatively impact on me, and I did have issues around kind of mental health, anxiety, all of those sorts of things, and obviously starting to train was a way of dealing with that.
When my mum died, and to be fair, I went through a lot. I lost my wife, my mum, family pet, all in the space of 6 months. Teamwork's massive, because even if you're having a bad day, the lads around you can obviously big you up and make you feel like you're on top of the world. So being involved with their team is so much better than being as an individual and doing it on your own.
All men are fucked, but it's just what flavour of fucked you are. So it's whether it's a relationship, whether it's finances, whether it's your health, whether it's your job, whether it's your purpose and what you're doing with your life. What I've learned from doing this is that all men have issues, all men have problems in their life, and a lot of the time it doesn't get spoken about because of the fact that there's an expectation on us. There's an expectation to just get on and do whatever is necessary, and that still applies to a certain extent, but I wouldn't say that one man's problem is bigger than another man's problem, or that your issue has more impact than mine. Everybody has their issues, and I think half of the challenge is actually sitting down and talking about it, because there's something cathartic about sitting down and saying, I have an issue with X, Y, and Z, and actually verbalising it and putting it out loud.
Before Strong, I was put a lot of weight on. That affects your health. Putting weight on, just being sluggish, getting out there, playing football, health. You forget everything. You just forget. Your mind goes blank. You're focusing on something different completely.
Some of them you'd sit with them and say, are you okay? And they'd just break down. It's almost like for the first time they've been able to talk about their issues. But they all have the same rhetoric, which is, when I'm on that football pitch, I'm free. Like for that 60 minutes, I feel free, I feel good, I'm not worried about my issues. My regular problems in life, be that my relationship, my finances, my health, my parent, whatever it is, seems to just disappear into nothingness for an hour.
In my own personal life, I've got a 12-year-old boy who, since my mum died 7 years ago, I can see his emotional development slowed down massively. He has struggled in schools, even they recognise that, and we've had to put things in place for him. So through the spectrum, I've not had any issues up until I was 37 now. I used to be in the police, I used to work with people with issues. I never thought that I would be in the bracket, but I don't class it as a bracket now. I believe that everybody has got some sort of mental health issue. It's just how you deal with it now.
So I'm sure there's some connection between dopamine in the brain and doing exercise for an hour and clearing out the gunk. I don't know what that is particularly, but it's definitely helped all these men for sure.
For me, just a friend checking in on me, or actually checking on a friend, is massively important, but not everyone's got that friend to lean on, That's why there is professional help as well.
For me, mine was a build-up, and I didn't seek that help for 6 years. Only this past year I've had to seek help, but I've seen me not speaking to a professional. It's gradually got worse and worse and worse. And again, I say the stigma, I didn't really openly speak about it. But speaking about it, I believe, has helped me. I have had the counselling how to deal with my issues, but speaking to friends now helps me on my journey.
So my dad had always been a bodybuilder, and he'd been training since he was about sort of 16, 17 as well at gyms, and he'd take me to gyms kind of all the way from when I was like 9 years old. If I had a day off school and he was going to the gym, he'd take me with him. So that kind of got me into it, and then I really started to get into training in college. You kind of get that reinvention when you leave high school. You kind of think, okay, can I make something different of myself? Try and get some different friendship circles, or try to move away from the bullies in high school and do something more than I had been doing. So I started training really as a way of bulking myself up and trying to change what I was and what had been made to me to seem unsatisfactory, unacceptable, I suppose, by the bullies. I was never sporty in high school. I was never on any teams or anything like that. Like kind of the popular kids were on the football team and the basketball team and the rugby team. I was never one of those. So when I went to college, started training, massively got into it when I was at university, sort of 18, 19, 20, and I've sort of gone on from there really.
The mental health problems that I've suffered throughout my life have ultimately come from childhood, coming through to college, and it's ultimately to do with self-sabotage. So I've experienced a lot through alcohol consumption, and through drinking it has been a way for me to cloud the problems that I've had mentally.
The stress that I've experienced probably comes from college really, and dealing with exams, because it's a big step up from GCSE, the sheer amount of stuff you need to know, and worrying about how well my results are in tests, and even though it's very early on really into my time, that's sixth form, I'm already having to worry about applications to university and making sure I'm prepared.
Started through school and then into college, and even though my family and friends were watching me behave the way that I was through alcohol consumption, they never asked me the reasons why I was doing it. So ultimately I didn't have anyone that was willing to challenge me on the fact that I was drinking quite a lot.
There was a time in my life where, around year 8 in high school, I wasn't probably the healthiest of people. I was eating a ton of bad food, and I was coming home and I was just playing Xbox for hours. And then I got a bit self-conscious about my weight, so I went into the gym. It just started off with abs first, so just doing ab exercises. Then I bought dumbbells, and then before I knew it, I was getting a gym membership.
So I traditionally, certainly up until I had my daughter last year, I was training 7 days a week, a couple of hours a day, and if I missed a day I would be really down, down on myself, and it was, even though I was picking up physical injuries and constantly in physical pain from that training regime, mentally I knew that going to the gym would be much better for me. To the point where if I was going on, kind of a holiday to Scotland in the summer, I'd be plotting where there were gyms local to be able to go to, for example. It's an obsession. I suppose since having my daughter, I've had to take a step back. Am I struggling with that? Yes.
Yeah, so my mental health started probably when I was 11 or 12, and I was quite young, but it was around the start of COVID when we all went into lockdown. I'm a very social person, and just being trapped inside the house all day, every single day for like 6 months on end, it put me in a path where I was overthinking everything. I didn't want to leave, I didn't eat, I just couldn't be myself. At the time I didn't speak to anyone. The only person I spoke to was the person I spoke to my dog. I love my dog to bits. She wouldn't speak back, she would just be there. She'd comfort me if I needed her to. But yeah, and then I think it's about 3 years ago now, I went into a rugby final. It was 11-11, and I had the ball 5 metres away to score the winning try, and I dropped it. And I blamed it on me for dropping the ball and losing it.
Through the problems that I was having, mental health problems and drinking, etc., I ended up suffering some injuries. So it took me out of a sport that I was enjoying, which was football, and I've always played. And now I've come out of the problems of having mental health issues, because now I'm sober. I've nearly a year sober, don't drink at all now. I've found myself the fittest I've ever been through running, of all things, and I now run on a regular basis, and I now challenge myself at the gym, and I now play badminton on a regular basis. So fitness is huge to keep the mind on point, because if you do not do exercise, you end up finding yourself in your own head, and being in your own head, doing nothing with your spare time is very, very damaging. I personally think that physical activity helps your mind concentrate on what's going on in the now, rather than thinking about the past, which causes depression, because you start to worry about what's gone on in the past and what you've done and what you should have done. When you start thinking about the future, it creates anxiety, and this is where anxiety comes from. When you're doing physical activity, you're in the now, you're in the moment, your mind is on the activity that you're doing there and then, and you're pushing your mind beyond what it wants to do, which is just relax and think about rubbish. When you do physical activity, you are living in the now. And the now is the only time that matters. The future doesn't exist, the past has been and gone. The only moment that matters is the present moment, and that is what physical activity does. It puts you there.
See if someone's angry and it builds up, anger builds up over time. And if you're in, especially with rugby, obviously I'm talking a lot about rugby, but with rugby you need to put everything into one tackle. So if you make that tackle, a lot of my anger went with that tackle, especially with me.
Being at the gym allows me to just take a step away from everything and just almost let go of what I'm worrying about, but even for just the briefest of time, which allows me to my mental health to improve.
Going to the gym has really eased that pressure, allowed me to look at things prospectively and look at things in the future, and in a relentless pursuit of delayed gratification, the gym helps with that, because you're having short-term pain for long-term gain.
I can't function if I haven't trained, whether that be the gym or whatever it is. I just feel like I have to train, and it clears my mind, it removes stress. I'm a lot more agitated and I'm quick to aggression if I've not trained, and so I try to do something every day.
The gym for me is a massive stress reliever, particularly after a day of work. You know, typically I like to try and get to the gym straight from work before I go home, so it acts as like a nice little buffer between work life and home life. So the gym's huge for me. It releases all the happy endorphins that I need, to be honest with you. And also it's a social outlay as well, so I get to the gym, there's other guys there who've just finished work, we can have a chat and a bit of a banter and a laugh with each other, you know, talk about the football or whatever it is. You know, often you'll have somebody complaining about something that somebody's done to them, or their wife's doing the reading, or you know, and you can have a chat about that and share experiences, and you know, it's just a massive social outpouring as well.
I do think rugby has improved my confidence, because it has allowed me to talk to other people, socialise with the rest of my squad, and speak to my teammates, and somewhat become a leader of the team. Obviously, I play with the year below, so a lot of the forwards do sort of look up to me as an older person to try and get tips from. So it has improved my confidence, because it makes me feel useful that people are listening to me and look up to me a little bit.
I think exercise is massive for mental health, absolute massive for it. Because sometimes you look at a cold night, yeah, and you think, oh, I've got to go and play football in that later. But you force yourself to get out. Once you've done the hour and you've done it, you've exercised, your mind is like cleansed basically. You're glad you've done it. It's really good for your mental health.
I I think if you wanted to speak to somebody, friends are your support network, and that could be family as well. Cousins, parents, carers. It's not just about friends. I think it's that close support network, because your close support network are people that know you best. So if you say that you're not feeling too great, the people that know you best might have something that you know you like that can help you go. So for me, for example, as someone who goes running, if I said I'd had a particularly bad day today and I wasn't feeling my best, my friends might go, come on, let's go for a run. So in the first instance, your friendship network and your close network of people are the ones that are there to help.
It's the most important thing. As soon as after my dog, I spoke to my best mate, and as soon as I told him, it felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. I felt like I could be more like free and not hide as much things from everyone else. As soon as I told him, I told the rest of my mates, I told my dad, I told my brother, and my brother still every single day messages me, are you okay? I'm here for you every single day. And that's what I love. So my advice is to speak to someone, because it is so much better.
Access support when you need it, and don't be afraid to access support when you feel that you need it. It's out there. Go and get it, and talk to your friends. You'd be surprised. It's like that thing that you say, you know, like, does anybody have any questions? And if one person has a question, everybody else will be thankful because they've also got the same question. You know, somebody's got to be brave enough to ask that question. If you're the person that's brave enough to say to your friends, look, I'm struggling, the chances are they'll turn around and say, yeah, we are too. Let's have a chat about it.
We've had men who have been suicidal when they've joined us. We've had men who've tried to, overdose themselves, try and, take their lives, even with wives and children and that kind of thing. And just by being part of that group, with no furthering of any medication or any medical help, have actually kind of got on the road to recovery, I suppose.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel for every situation. Life's hard. It's hard for everybody, isn't it? Everyone's got a problem. But there's different types of depression. I think you can be mourning over a death, something like that. There's people who've not got the finances what other people have got, or there's a relationship you've broken up. So everybody all leads to the same road. I think if you speak out to somebody, it's help. Absolutely will help. I think so. So it's good to get off your chest.
Seek help. Speak. Openly speak about it. I think speaking is a massive thing now. Don't be afraid as well. Don't be afraid to speak about any issue that you have. There's help out there now.
Just make sure you're speaking to somebody, making sure you're just open, honest, because if you bottle things up, then you're not going to obviously get the best out of it. So for me personally, speak to people, whether it's one person or 10 people. Sometimes some people would feel like the more people you speak to, the better you feel, because you'll get different types of advice off people.
Spend some time on your own, searching for the answers of what it is that you're looking for, which is everyone's looking for peace and joy, and then turning to someone that you trust. It doesn't have to be a family member, it doesn't have to be your closest friend, it just has to be someone that you know has the right morals.
My advice to anybody that's going through tough times at the moment is speak about it. Like I said in answer to the other questions, I think speak about it to whoever you feel most comfortable.
I would recommend that they go and sit down, reach out to someone that is out there. If you don't have anyone, go to a charity.
Don't just sit with your thoughts, do something about it in a positive way. So speaking would be my first point of call, but then also refocusing on positives, doing something that you enjoy.
A final piece of advice for anybody going through mental health issues is find something that you love and focus on it.
I think if anything, it's a strength to go out and ask for help. It takes courage to admit that you need help and you need support.
Just open about everything now. It's much better. Yeah.
And it's looking positive now. Everything's looking positive.
It just takes one call. One phone call will save a life.